Hey guys, welcome to Cosi Talks Live. I'm going to go ahead and turn my lights on because the sun is setting, and as you can see, I am on my porch. So we are having summer nights on the Cosi Talks studio. Ooh, there we go. Now we got some light going on. All right, guys, for those of you who are watching me on the replay, go ahead and comment replay in the chat section. Give me a shout out. That is a really bright light. Oof. That's a lot brighter than I intended that to be. Sorry, guys, as I'm just going to wait for you guys to jump on board, fix my light. There we go. Not quite so scary looking. All right, guys. So if you're watching the replay, give me a shout out on the replay in the chat section. Let me have your questions there. It's been a long day, guys. Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and just start saying hi to people who are here. We've got Scott on board. We've got Emily coming in from hot central Pennsylvania, where the van's air conditioning stopped working. Oh, yeah, that's no bueno. Tropical guava refresher with oat milk. Yeah. We got Susan on board tuning in with Marshall. Oh, it's his favorite show. Oh, I love it. Love it, Susan. So happy to have you guys here. We got Chuck coming in here from Wyoming. Chuck, you're not watching me through the YouTube channel. Usually I see you through my YouTube channel. All right, guys. So as you can see, I am kind of a little more relaxed mode in summertime, just really enjoying being here, having the kids home from school. All right, sorry, I just keep adjusting my camera there. Okay, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get started. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, welcome. My name is Cosi Veloso. For those of you who are new to the show, I'm a physical therapist, and I'm based in Tampa, Florida. I've been a PT now for a little over 23 years, and my passion is working with the amputee and limb loss community. So we are in a slightly different setting. I am not inside my Cosi Talk studio. I am in my front porch and just enjoying this evening, and hopefully the mosquitoes won't eat me alive. We got Tammy on board, and Francis coming in from Orlando. Yes, Jane, we are in fact live. Good to see you here. We got Randy coming in from San Diego. My pleasure to help. Absolutely my pleasure, Randy. And again, if there's someone who can help you out, it's Julie. She's definitely the gal right there. We got Earl coming in from California. Let's see who else we got. Tammy from Iowa. We got Benny. What's going on, Benny? G.I. Jane says, one day a guy asked me, G.I. Jane, can I ask you how you lost your license? I said, sure. 2 separate shark attacks. Same shark. Kept saying, you up every time I got in the water. I guess I was his idea of meal prep. Now I send him postcards from VA hospital. Still not dead. G.I. Jane, you are one of a kind, Chica. I'm so glad you're on the show. We got Marty in Texas with a glass of iced tea. Jerry Ann coming in from Arizona with her coffee and vanilla brown sugar. I got my iced drink right here waiting for you guys and your questions. Not as many questions, but that means there's more room for you guys to put them into the comment section. Let me give a shout out to my Instagram folks. We got Ralph on board, Molala Shell, and we got Shockers on board as well. So welcome, guys, from the Instagram channel. So, guys, I have we got Jim coming in from Northeast Ohio. Guys, I do have a small PSA announcement. So I'm in Tampa, Florida, and then one of our probably the largest university in Florida. It's called the University of Florida, home of the Gators. Those of you guys who are football fans, you're going to know what school I'm talking about. Well, I have a lovely colleague there by the name of Donovan Lott. He is a physical therapy professor at that department in the University of Florida, and truly a wonderful, wonderful school for physical therapy. It was really a top-notch school. They are looking for volunteers. So they have their students in their doctorate program for physical therapy, and they are looking for volunteers so that the students can interview an amputee. So guys, you know how much I love to teach. You know how much I love to foster love for the amputee community in the young PT students and upcoming physical therapists. And this is a way that you can help. I know many of you volunteer of your time to go to physical therapy schools and participate as amputee models. So this is another opportunity for you where you don't even have to leave your home. You can be interviewed virtually. So I'm going to put the information here. You would be emailing Donovan. Again, he is my colleague, fantastic human being. He's a physical therapist at the University of Florida, professor there, and that is his email address. So guys, if you would like to volunteer for this, just say we saw the announcement on the Cosi Talk show, and we would love to volunteer to have an interview with one of the physical therapy students. Guys, truly, I think, when you're in medical school, nursing school, PT school, whatever, you got your head stuck in the books, grinding the axe there, that you need to look up every once in a while and make personal contact with the people that you are going to be serving. And I think this is a wonderful way. I know I had to do my fair share of interview type projects in school, and it really When you hear someone's personal story one-on-one, that truly makes a difference. Absolutely, Andrea. So speaking of another one of my wonderful colleagues, we got my occupational therapist on board. I haven't seen her in a little while, so I'm always happy to have her here. She says UF is the current men's basketball champs. Yeah, UF is where it's at when it comes to sports in Florida. Sorry, guys. I know I keep messing with my camera, but it's just kind of driving me bonkers. Okay. You don't see the email address? Okay, so Randy, if you look right underneath, I just posted it. Are the police coming to my home? I hope the police are not coming to my home, Jane. I was very, very good about not leaving my tracks. So Randy, if you scroll up just a little bit, let me see if I can retype. Ooh, there we go. Aren't I fancy? Okay, guys, so I'm going to leave that up there so you guys can just kind of write it down at your leisure throughout the show. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get started with some of these questions. We got Linda from New York, new Miss Rodeo New York 2020. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Hey there, Harsh. Oh, it's good to see you. No, Francis. And again, you guys are wonderful about just, volunteering of your time. And it truly helps these students. It really does. And it never fails that when you have these kind of interviews and projects, there's inevitably one student at least that says, maybe I'll think about specializing in that particular field. And we need more folks like that. All right, guys. So let's see what we got. Okay, so this question came in this week, and it says, I have just completed stage 2 Oprah. The surgeons were good, hope so. The team support, not so much. I need real recovery and rehab information fast. I am very healthy, very active, and I am the first patient for my prosthetist in terms of osseointegration. So guys, obviously this set off a lot of warning bells when I read this email, and I've been trading emails back and forth with this individual in an attempt just to get more information about the situation and how I can help her and provide her with the resources. So at some point she had the Oprah procedure done, which is the osseointegration model by Integrum. And guys, they've been on my show like I don't know how many times. They basically have a parking spot, their own parking spot on my show at this point. So obviously I can vouch for the validity of Integrum and their work with the Oprah implant system. However, when you turn your product over to a surgeon and a surgical team, then the responsibility is transferred there. Obviously Integrum works very closely with their teams and providing them education, providing them with support, troubleshooting any issues, because there's always going to be issues that arise no matter what you're doing, right? But ultimately, when it comes time to doing the surgery, when it comes time to doing the patient care, surgeon is the one in charge. Right. And we've had a plethora of amazing surgeons on this show, and all of them talking about how they have an entire team to support their osseointegration patients. I mean, we've had, Dr. Shu, Dr. Souza, Dr. Forsberg. We're going to have a couple of more surgeons, Dr. Doherty, all across the United States, guys, doing what is a very intense surgery. And it's a 2-part surgical procedure with up to 9 months to a year of rehabilitation and healing and everything going on. Okay. So when I hear that this person, invested a lot of their time, has been through stage 2, and they don't have any rehab set up, and that they're kind of being left on their own, that's a huge fail on the surgeon's part. Okay. A few more details on this particular case where they said, I was just given my weight bearing protocol. I wasn't, guys, that's not how it works. Okay. It's not how it works. This particular individual, went to a surgeon, trusted a surgeon to do the right thing. And the surgery may have gone well, but if you don't have the follow-up support with the rehabilitation team, it's not going to be successful. You need that rehabilitation support. There's a very strict weight bearing protocol. There's very strict protocols in both cases, whether you do the Oprah implant system or you go with the PressFit system. Okay. There's things that have to be done and followed. And then with your prosthetist, if you happen to be, your prosthetist's first patient, your prosthetist needs to take responsibility in getting the education that he or she will need to set you up properly. Okay, the resources are there. The resources are there. If you do this in the United States, I know because I've worked with the people who provide those resources. Okay. No, she did not go to Flint, Jane. At this time, I'm not going to say who it is, because again, my interest right now is in helping this individual and getting her the resources that she needs. But again, for those of you who are thinking about having this procedure done, and we're going to go into it because another one of the questions is also about that tonight. You got to do your homework. You got to do your homework. Part of your homework is done by watching this show, because you're learning about the different types of osseointegration, and specifically the one that is FDA approved here in the United States. So you have lots of information to get you started there. Okay. And then also part of your homework is listening to the interviews that I've done with these surgeons, so that they walk you through, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like with my team members. This is the kind of support you should be receiving after surgery 1 and after surgery number 2. Okay. So again, this is something that there's the responsibility on the surgeon, right? There's the responsibility of Integrum to provide the necessary resources, and they do, right? And then it's also the responsibility of the patient, right? You need to be you need to be an informed consumer. Okay. You need to know who it is that's going to be taking care of you. And more importantly, one question I tell people to ask is, if something doesn't go as planned, okay, because even in the hands of the best surgeons in the world, adverse events can happen, right? What is the plan moving forward? Okay. That's a big one that I'm telling people now to ask when they go in for these surgeries. If things do not go as planned, if there's an infection, if I have questions in the middle of the night, if there is unexpected pain, what is my course of action? What is my support system going to look like at that time and moving forward for the next few months? Yeah, it is a serious issue. And I'm glad that this particular individual reached out. So again, out of consideration for her privacy, I'm only going to kind of tell you the general information. And again, guys, this can happen with any procedure, with any implant product being used on the market. This is something that just can happen. So again, you are the person most responsible for your healthcare, right? And knowledge is power in that regard. So arm yourself with knowledge and what it is that you need to do to make sure that you get the right team working with you. Okay. So Jane is asking, the rehab stage after stage 2 is about 6 weeks, correct? No, it's actually longer than that. So it's a detailed protocol, and some of these protocols are kind of evolving right now. So you start once the surgeon clears you for weight bearing. Okay. You start with a very slow, progressive weight bearing protocol. Okay. And you will progress through it depending on how your body is reacting to it. Everybody is just a little bit different. It takes about 12 weeks to 16 weeks to get the full rehab done, to get to full weight bearing, and then to start using the full length prosthetic devices. Okay. It does take longer. So this particular rehab process is longer when compared to the press fit method. Okay. And again, it's just the nature of the difference in the implants and how they are put into the body. Okay. And there are pros and cons to both of them. Hello, Dave. Good to see you. Okay, let's see. Hey there, Eric. What's going on? Listen to me on the YouTube channel. So guys, just as a reminder, I am broadcasting to YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Usually I see more folks on my YouTube channel, but not quite as many today. Let me just pop over to Instagram real quick. We're good with Instagram. We got Larry. Larry, I haven't seen you in a long time, love. I am so glad to see you, and I hope you're doing well. We've got Teresa also on board joining in along with Ronald. Good to see you guys on the Instagram channel. All right, guys, so let's just kind of move through these questions a little bit. Hey, we got Dick Devers coming in from West Virginia. All right. Yes, guys. So if you guys have been online a little bit, you've been seeing with the Amputee Coalition is at risk of losing their federal budget. So I believe Harsh went ahead and posted a link for you to get more information on that. Guys, I'll be very honest. I have not read through the information yet, so I'm not as well versed as I probably should be right now. That is on my to-do list for tomorrow to read through and just to see what's going on and what we can do to help. So those of you who are interested, go ahead. And I know that Harsh will have provided a valid link there. There we go. Let's see what else have we got. Guys, a reminder, those of you who are just joining me right now, I have a colleague in the University of Florida up in Gainesville, the Gators. He is looking for folks who would like to volunteer to be interviewed by his doctoral physical therapy students. His name is Donovan. I've posted the email right there below on the screen. That's the email that you're seeing right there. If you do volunteer and email him, please let him know that you heard about it on the Cosi Talk Show. I like to let our colleagues know that we are supporting them as well. Mary Ann, can I put you on the spot a little bit and ask you to volunteer for this? I think you would be phenomenal to talk to some of the physical therapy students. Okay, we've got Pamela coming in from upstate New York. Tamara, sorry if I missed it. Did you talk about potential problems with the Axor 2? No, I have not yet talked about that, Tamara. So I know there's been a couple of issues with the Axor 2, some of the people who are using it. Again, that is one of those things that I'm learning more as I go along. And I know that if you do have a problem with the Axor 2, your prosthetist is supposed to be reporting it to the Integrum team. If any of you are having issues, I'd be more than happy to put you in touch with the Integrum team and to help out with it. So guys, like with any technology, as new technology rolls out, there's going to be glitches in the engineering at times, and they have to continue to work on it to improve upon whatever it is that's going on right now. Okay. So if you have any issues, please have your prosthetist reach out to the Integrum team. And if you feel like you're not getting anywhere, please feel free to message me and I'd be happy to put you in touch with them as well. Emily, I think you would be fabulous. All of you guys. I mean, I know I've heard from you all either in text messages or emails or from what you've shared on the show. And I know all of you have your own unique stories. And I think students would be lucky to hear from you all. So I would consider it a personal favor as well if you volunteered for this particular project. All right. Harsh, thank you very much for posting a bit more details on this right there. Hey, Pam. Oh, and we got Nancy coming in on board as well. All right, guys, let's move on to the next question. Okay, so I think this question also came in from Tamara in terms of, she says, I've watched a video on the Oprah surgery. Do you have a video of both parts of the Oprah procedure? Unfortunately, I do not. I know we have animations of the part 1 procedure. They have a lovely animation there. I do not have any kind of video of the second part procedure. So just as a reminder, guys, in the first procedure, they take the fixture and they implant it directly into the femur bone. And then they close everything up. So the skin is all closed up and it's left to heal for about 3 to 6 months, depending on the individual, right? And then for the second procedure, the surgeon is going to make the opening the aperture site, okay? And they're going to put what's called the abutment there, and that's the little part that will stick out of the skin, and then later on connect to the prosthesis with the Axor device, okay? So how that is basically done, and this is a really generalized description, keeping in mind, guys, I am not a surgeon. What the surgeon does is they carefully scrape the tissue, and then they get it to stick to the metal part, to the abutment, to the part that is sticking out. And the whole point with the Oprah procedure is for the skin to adhere and stick to that abutment so that there's no movement there whatsoever, okay? And they want that so that there's no shearing on that skin, so that it doesn't move and it's left to heal. Like the person has to follow some pretty strict protocols to make sure that that skin heals nice and closed and tight, okay? So let's see what else we got here. Tamara also asked, what should be expected from the first appointment with a surgeon if you are doing osseointegration? And guys, this goes for whether you're doing the Oprah system or whether you're choosing to go the PressFit system through investigational device exemption. Okay, because right now the Oprah system is the only one that is FDA approved in the United States. So keep that in the back of your mind. And guys, this goes for any surgery that you have done, whether you're choosing to do osseointegration or you're looking to do something like targeted muscle reinnervation or even a revision, okay? Let's see. Dave says, I love my OI and very free with my Integrum tool set, very free. Yeah. So will look a lot like any surgical consult. Okay, you're going to have a basic history and physical. The surgeon is going to be asking you, why is it that you want OI? What is it that you feel like OI is going to be able to do for you? They're going to ask you a series of questions to determine if you are, in fact, a good candidate for osseointegration. Okay, after that, they're going to probably run some tests. So I imagine they're going to either do an x-ray just to see how the femur is looking. They may choose to do a CT scan or an MRI just to see how the soft tissue looks, just check out the integrity of the bone itself. If it's a surgeon that does a good job, which a lot of them do, okay, they're going to introduce you to their rehab team. Okay, so that could mean meeting the physical therapist, the occupational therapist. It could mean that you meet with a nutritionist or a dietitian, or perhaps from psych as well. I know, for example, in Charlotte, North Carolina, Atrium Health, the program that Dr. Shu runs, he has everybody consult with the patient. So it's a lot of support from a lot of different members of the team. Okay. There should also be a lot of planning involved. What is it going to look like after surgery? Are you going to go to inpatient rehab? Are you going to go home with home services? What are going to be the restrictions? These are all things that they should be guiding you through leading up to the surgery. They may not cover it all in the very first visit, but they should have a good start and cover all of these things prior to the surgery itself. Okay. And the question I'm having you guys ask is, how do I get in touch with my team during different parts of the procedure? Because I feel like when things don't go well, that's the missing link right there. I've unfortunately over the years received some emails from folks that had surgeries done, not necessarily OI, but because they had it done outside of their town, they traveled to have the surgery done. And when they came back home, they experienced a complication and the surgeon didn't get back in touch with them, or they weren't able to get in touch with the surgical team. And again, this can happen with any surgery. Okay. So especially if you are traveling to go see this surgeon, okay, and at some point you're returning home, you need to ask the team, like, who is my contact person? Okay. If stuff hits the fan, how do I get in touch with my team, and how do we handle any issues that can come up? Okay. And not just like the first few days after you get home, like extended period of time. Your prosthetist, who is the prosthetist that your surgeon is going to be connecting you with? A prosthetist who's had the training from the Integrum team, for example. Okay. So a lot of these questions that you need to ask. And the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, I think I need to do like a Cosi cheat sheet on what to ask your surgeon if you're thinking about OI. What is your checklist as a patient? Anybody want me to do that? I know I'm getting ideas for cheat sheets because I know you guys like to downloading the cheat sheets off the blog site. So would you guys want me to do a cheat sheet on like what you should ask your surgeon going into OI? What should be your checklist? Yeah, let me know. Let me know in the comments. We got Pat on board. He says, getting my second socket made since the 2017 amputation, hoping for the best. New knee too. Ooh, which knee are you going to get, Pat? Curious minds want to know. Let's see. So Marty says, same with Dr. Doherty at Memorial Hermann in Houston. Yeah, Dr. Doherty is wonderful. And he has interviewed on my show before, and that one is on my YouTube channel. Yes, Tammy, I'm sorry. So Tammy's like, I thought the session was going to be about when your prosthetist makes a mistake on your socket. Yes, Tammy, and I apologize. Sometimes when folks ask me a question, I kind of like, and I get distracted and I start answering that question. But yes, let's talk about the hallmark question that I put up for tonight. So let me give you a little bit of background, guys, so that you guys can listen about what this particular case. This person says, I lost my leg last September due to an accident. My mechanical leg was approved in mid-December. Prosthetist did the mold on my stump immediately. The leg did not come out until late January. Okay, so if you think about that, that's almost 6 weeks between the casting for the socket and the actual leg. From the first day, my socket was too big. Well, yeah, it took 6 weeks, so it's gonna, your leg is gonna shrink in the meantime. I've been fighting this almost since day one as the prosthetist just keeps adding padding. here's where it gets interesting. My physical therapist stopped my therapy, saying I can't progress until I get a correct fitting socket. I finally insisted with my prosthetist to put in a request, and it's going through insurance. I guess my question is it time to look for a new prosthetist? I feel like he should have been more involved from the start with the ill-fitting socket. So new to this, don't know where to go for advice. Love your YouTube videos. Thank you. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here with this, guys. Okay, first of all, I want to always play cut a little grace to the clinician. If he was having the leg cast in mid-December, everybody knows that Christmas time and Christmas season in clinical office is kind of hectic because you're going to be short-staffed because people are going to be on vacation, right? So let's give the benefit of the doubt that perhaps this prosthetist was seriously backed up, that it took 6 weeks to get the prosthesis to the patient. Or perhaps there was an issue with getting a particular part. Let's just cut this prosthetist some slack there, right? Okay. When the prosthetist fit the person for the socket, okay, if it was too big, okay, that's kind of a red flag there. When you get your first socket, guys, there's going to be a little wiggle room, especially in those first few months after surgery. Why? Because you're going to continue to shrink. Your residual limb is going to keep shrinking very aggressively. Okay. So I can even understand that the prosthetist said in the first visit, okay, socket fits a little big. Let's just put a little padding and let's just see how this person does. But what's interesting to me is that the physical therapist stopped therapy because the socket was not fitting well. And that's exactly what the PT should have done. Okay. For those of you who are new to the show, if that socket is not fitting perfectly, I cannot do my job as a physical therapist. And I've been doing this a really long time and I'm kind of good at what I do. Okay. But I cannot work with a patient if their socket is not fitting well. If it's too big and we can't accommodate it properly with socks, if it's painful, if it's not aligned properly, whatever the case may be, if that socket is not fitting well, we're wasting a patient's time. We're wasting a patient's visits and money by using that visit. Okay. So follow-up questions that I would like to know is, when did the physical therapist determine that the socket was too big? Was it on the very first visit or did they try a couple of visits? Okay. And then did the physical therapist communicate with the prosthetist? So guys, I hold the prosthetist responsible, but I hold physical therapists equally responsible. So if I get a patient in for the first time and I don't know that prosthetist, the first thing I do after I see that patient is I call their prosthetist and introduce myself. Okay. If it's a prosthetist I don't know, I let them know this is who I am. I'm working with your patient. How can I help? What do I need to know about this patient? And with the prosthetist that I do know, I call them as well and say, hey, what are the unique characteristics about this particular patient or the prosthesis? Is there anything I need to know? Anything you need me to look out for? Okay. That communication needs to be happening from day one, if not beforehand. Okay. So I think, and again, I'm playing Monday morning quarterback and I don't have some of the specific details on this particular case. But one thing I'm asking myself is, if the physical therapist knew that this socket was not fitting, did they report this on day one? Okay. And if it's been a while and that prosthetist is still just trying to get some padding and trying to pad, guys, there comes a time when there's not enough padding that can make a socket fit. Okay. And if 6 weeks went by between the initial mold and the final issue of the socket, 6 weeks is a long time when you're a new amputee and your leg is going to be shrinking a lot. Okay. So prosthetist kind of needs to take responsibility and get that new socket approved for insurance. Okay. Do I think that this person needs to find a new prosthetist? Again, it's devil's in the details. Where did the breakdown in communication happen? Okay. Because if the prosthetist issued a so-so fitting socket, but the therapist wasn't on top of it, then, it's a breakdown on both ends. If the physical therapist was from the beginning trying to advocate for the patient and the prosthetist simply wasn't listening, then in that case, it is time to look for a new prosthetist. Okay. So there's a lot of, and I see cases like this a lot. I don't, unfortunately, I don't hear a lot about cases where the physical therapist is involved. And again, this is where the physical therapist can really provide can advocate for the patient. Okay. So a prosthetist can issue a socket, but where you really determine if that socket is fitting well is during the gait training process with the therapist. That's when you're really going to be able to suss out the nuances and whatever issues and problems might be there that need to be corrected. And communication needs to happen. Okay. So, and guys, many of you have said that you've taken, the initiative in introducing your physical therapist to your prosthetist. And I encourage you to do that. If your physical therapist doesn't already have some sort of professional relationship with your prosthetist, you can be the one to help establish that. Okay. And don't be shy about it. Let's see. Pat says he's getting another Ottobock sea leg. Have been very happy with my original sea leg. This one is similar, but waterproof, which bodes well for kayaking. Absolutely. Sorry, guys. I'm getting an error message on my... Okay, that was strange. Not sure why I'm getting an error message. Okay, that was weird. Sorry, guys. My streaming platform sometimes gets a little cuckoo. We got my girl Michelle's on board. We've got, there we go. All right, we got Marnette and we got Steve on board as well. All right. Oh, and Van Gregory. I almost missed you there, Van Gregory. Howdy. Howdy from Texas. All right, guys, let me get another question in here. Okay. This one comes from Elizabeth. Elizabeth says, I'm a bilateral above the knee. It's been a year and I've been going to a particular clinic with my prosthetist, and it's been very hard to walk. Does it take this long? And this individual says that she is at a hanger clinic. So yes, short answer, when it comes to learning how to walk as an amputee, it takes time. It takes time and it takes training and it takes a lot of hard work. And I know that there are many of you out there who have been there, done that, are going through it right now. And I'm sure you can echo those sentiments. And guys, feel free to put your thoughts about this into the comment section as well. The basic rule of thumb is the higher up the level your amputation, the harder that you have to work, right, to learn how to walk. As a bilateral above the knee, there are a lot of challenges. You're missing the anatomical knee and the anatomical ankle joint, right? So you're having to learn how to control 4 joints that are not yours through the use of a prosthesis. And again, if you're at a hanger clinic, one of the great things about working with hanger clinics is that they do have a lot of resources available for their patients. Okay. There's, you can either, when you're seeing a prosthetist, you can either go the big corporate route, like something like hanger, or you can go the small mom and pop route. And there's pros and cons, I think, to either way you do it. So one of the pros of working with hanger is that you do, like I said, they have access to resources. One of my favorite resources that they offer is the BACA boot camp. Okay. So Elizabeth, if you're listening right now, and I'm going to email you this information as well. The BACA boot camp is short for bilateral above the knee amputee. They take a group, it's exclusively for BACAs, and they take them out into the community, and it is a boot camp. You're accompanied by a prosthetist, and usually, and I know on several occasions, Kevin Carroll has been to these BACA boot camps, and he probably is the best prosthetist in the United States. I will go on record saying that. And they put you through the community, and they make you get out there and walk and go through escalators and walk on stairs and ramps and curbs and do all sorts of scary things with help from, experienced clinicians and people who work with amputees. So that's one of their amazing resources. Another thing is that they do have a lot of connections with therapists in the community. Okay, so if your prosthetist works for a hanger clinic, they should be able to put you in touch with a physical therapist that can start working with you. And that is going to be key to learning how to walk. Okay. As a bilateral above the knee, you've got a lot of things to take into consideration in learning how to walk. And this is where the physical therapist can really, really make a difference for you. Okay. All right. Let's see. Emily says, I had to get a second opinion from another prosthetist because my first prosthetist didn't have enough experience, and I finally got my prosthesis 8 months after amputation. Yeah. And sometimes it takes a minute, guys. And the same thing, again, I hold the prosthetist and I hold the physical therapist, both of them to equal and high standards. So you need to do what is best for the patient. And there you go. Let's see. What else do we got? All the comments went away. Huh? Oh, golly. I don't know what's going on with my streaming software. Oh, we got Pastor David. There you are. Good to see you. Linda says, absolutely. Just keep working at it. Nicholas says, Kevin Carroll is the best. Isn't he, though? So, guys, I'm going to give you a shout out. If you ever seen the movie Winter the Dolphin, right? It's a beautiful story about this dolphin who was found in my backyard, literally in Clearwater, which is about 45 minutes away from me. And I think she got caught in a fishing net, but she had to have her tail amputated because it was so infected they couldn't save the tail. And she was housed at the Clearwater Marine Aquarium, which is a stunning aquarium, really, truly a beautiful aquarium. And then two men by the name of Kevin Carroll and Dan Strzemka. Okay. They created the prosthetic tail that she went on to use for several years. Now, in the movie, the prosthetist role is played by Morgan Freeman, but in real life, it's actually not one man, it's two men. Two Irish guys who have the credit for her tail. And truly, and they're both hanger prosthetists, and both of them are actually incredible human beings. Wonderful, wonderful people. Okay. Jane asked, does bilateral mixed count for BACA? No, it does not. It is exclusively for the bilateral above the knee amputee. And I think I can only hazard that the reason for this is because they are the ones that receive the least amount of resources. Okay. And they are the ones that are probably, arguably, you can argue that they face the most challenges, especially in the community. So I think that's probably why they keep it just strictly to BACA. Let's see. Pat says, my experience has been that having an excellent physiatrist who is capable of articulating what your issue is can make a world of difference. Ding, 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 ding. They also need to have a good working relationship with your prosthetist, and I've been lucky with both. So yes, physiatrist, absolutely. So guys, a lot of terms here, right? So just as a reminder, physiatrist can also be called physical medicine and rehabilitation. That is the doctor that specializes in rehabilitation. And they are the head of the rehab team. Right. So if you take a PT and you turn them into an MD, it's a physiatrist, or physical medicine and rehabilitation, also called PM&R. Okay. And honestly, when it comes to all the different specialties of doctors, PM&R doctors and physiatrists are my favorites because they speak our language, right? They are all about the rehab team. They are the ones heading up the rehab team. The one that comes immediately to mind is Dr. Howie Weiss over at the Brooks Rehab over in Jacksonville, Florida. Phenomenal human being and has a really extensive knowledge of amputee care. So a lot of times, woo, that was a big skeeter. Woo, that thing was the size of a cow. Did you guys see that? Okay, so when I see that folks are perhaps struggling sometimes with their primary care doctors, I'll often ask them to refer them to go see a PM&R doctor. In general, they're going to be more aware of the needs of amputees, long-term needs for amputees. So definitely. Marianne says, I definitely am still learning to walk since 2016 and still walking with two canes. And Marianne, you've been to the BACA camp, I believe, right? And you are hard worker. Let's see. Emily says, and continuity of care is also important. So Emily says, I have a Winter's gel liner. Yeah, so it's a really beautiful movie. I think it's Harry Connick Jr., Morgan Freeman, Ashley Judd. There's a part one, and then there's a sequel to the movie where they talk about Hope, which is another dolphin that is at the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. Sadly, Winter passed away a few years ago, but Hope is still very much there, and she's there. But yes, they created a specialized liner. Because if you can imagine, guys, I mean, and it's pretty amazing. You can see the tail at the aquarium still. How do you suspend metal and plastic from a dolphin's very soft, delicate skin. So they created this special liner, a special gel liner, and they ended up using it on humans. And it's a very, like, it feels like dolphin skin when you feel that gel liner, the Winter's gel liner. It feels like dolphin skin. It's very soft and very pliable. Marianne says, I absolutely would recommend Baka Boot Camp. There you go. And she's going again in Chicago. I'm so happy about that. I love when I see people go repeatedly to the Baka boot camps, because I think you get so much out of it. I would love to go to one of those myself. Putting it out there, Hanger, if you're listening, take me to your Baka boot camp. We'll have a lot of fun. All right. Linda says, what's the name of the movie? It's called, the movie's called Winter, A Dolphin's Tale. A Dolphin's Tale, Tale. Get it? Okay. So that's the name of the movie. It's a really, really sweet movie. My kids have seen it. We've been to the Clearwater Aquarium so many times. If you're ever in Tampa, guys, in the Tampa area, it's worth going to that aquarium. It's really lovely. Hey, Glenn, glad to see you, man. And we've got Denise coming in as well. I got my late caramels, but man, I love having you guys over here. So here, let me put it down. So Winter. Winter, A Dolphin's Tale. Something like that. It'll come up because it was a really popular movie. And the name of the sequel, I can't recall, but if you Google it, it'll come up pretty easily. We've got a lot of folks coming on board on Instagram. We got Alan, Rudy's mom, Marnette's on board. We got Steve on board. We got a lot of folks coming in. Hey there, Alex. Oh my goodness, I haven't seen you in a while. All right. So guys, before I wrap it up for this evening, I do want to give a final shout out to University of Florida. My colleague, Donovan, he is a physical therapist and he's a professor at the University of Florida. He is looking for volunteers to participate in interviews. So if you would like to volunteer, you will be interviewed by students of the Doctorate Physical Therapy program at the University of Florida. And the nice thing is you can do this from the comfort of your own home. It would be a virtually set up interview. So those of you who like to give back in some way, shape, or form, but are not necessarily able to leave your home, this is a really great way. And it would go to helping a lot of students. As I mentioned, I think students need to take a break from the books every once in a while and actually make contact with the people that they are learning to serve in the future. So this is the email right there. I've listed it right there. Donovan is the name of the physical therapist professor. So he will be reaching out to you if you email him, and just please let him know that you heard about it on the Cosi Talk Show. I like to let my colleagues know that we support them. All right, guys. So it's short and sweet this evening because it is summer, and I'm going to go enjoy my evening with my children who are off for summer break. Silicone sleeves were invented during that incident. I wonder, Harsh, because I've seen they're silicone, but then the Winter's gel is a gel liner. And it feels different than other gel liners. So I'll have to look at the timeline to see when gel liners really came about and then when the Winter's one came about. So it'll be interesting. Okay, so Nicholas asks, are the interviews for amputees or those that specialize as PATs? What's PATs? What am I missing? My understanding is that they are interviewing amputees. So right now they are taking all of their coursework for amputee care at the University of Florida. So this is being incorporated into that didactic. Let's see. All right. Oh, Mary, there you are. Oh, all right, guys. So as always, if you have any questions about anything about amputee care, amputee recovery, you are more than welcome to email me directly, cosi@cositalks.com. So yes, PTs, yes. So it will be a physical therapist student that will be interviewing, potentially interviewing you. As students, they don't specialize, like they're still learning all the general knowledge. They don't go into their specialties until their residency programs or later on in their careers. All right, guys. So as always, thank you for letting me be a part of your lives this evening. I will see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat